Do a little video to show you how I mark up my charts with the buy side liquidity, sell side liquidity and fair value gaps. I know most of you have probably come up with your own system already, but I've noticed on a couple of videos I've watched that some of the people's markings are a bit confusing for me, and I thought I'll share my system and hopefully some people will benefit from this. I'm firstly going to set up the object tree page. To get to that, for those of you who don't know, there's a little icon down the bottom here, object tree. Click on that and that's me set. So I'm going to start with a couple of markings of buy side liquidities and sell side liquidities. I guess most of you guys know this, but if you hold the shift key down whilst you're drawing your line, it draws it nice and straight for you. I label my lines with just a simple BSL or SSL, and for monthly I use red lines, and I colour code all my markings, so weekly's orange, daily's purple, 4 hours green. You can use whatever you like. So that's what. Now you notice when I drew that line over there, it created a line over here called trend line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that and just call that BSL monthly. Now I'm a copy and paste merchant, so when I copy and paste now, it creates another header over here, or reference object line with the same title, same features, that I can just literally go and move it and stick it in there. Let's do a sell side. And as you can see, copying and pasting keeps the name in the object tree. What I'm going to do now with all my buy sides and sell sides is I'm going to stick them into a group of their own. So by selecting the top and the bottom one and clicking on the plus arrow here, it's now put them into a group which I will rename. Now I put all my time frames of buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity markings in here, because as you drop down they will literally be visible and it saves you marking the chart further. Right, I'm going to do a few markings now for the weekly, daily, 4 hour. I'm going to pause the video and then I'm going to come back to you guys with the next stage. Welcome back everybody. Right, I've gone through all the charts, well down to the 15-minute time frame, and I've marked up some buy sides and some sell sides. I've not marked them all, just to give you an example. As you can see here on the daily chart, I've got a red line there marking the monthly high, an orange line there marking the weekly high, and then I've got some purple lines down here marking the daily highs. If I drop down to the 4 hour, you'll then see the 4 hour levels marked. Down to the 1 hour, it's the same. In fact I've messed up there. I've left me incorrect time frame, so let's just quickly adjust the settings on there to the visibility, untick that, 15 minutes. Let me just quickly correct those other ones and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, apologies about that. I've now corrected those so that they're showing on the right time frames. So you can now see we've got the buy sides and sell sides marked up on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily and the high levels, and if I drop down to the 15 minutes you can see them all marked up on there as well. And the object tree, you can see them all marked in there, and all the titles have carried over. So if I copy any one of these lines and paste it, you'll see it pop up here. So all you've got to do, obviously put the line where you want it and then just drag it into the folder, and that's all kept together. The advantage of this is if you do the I bit, it takes away all your markings and you're back to a clean chart again. Now this is particularly good when it comes to marking the fair value gaps. I'll start on the daily level for brevity and speed, and basically I'm just going to mark these up with a rectangle, sticking to my colour code scheme. So for my daily I'm going to be using a purple, marking up for all the times lower. Whether you put something in there or not is entirely up to you. Some people want to put fair value gap, some people have put daily fair value gap. I just think, to be quite honest, that by having a colour coding system, when you have the background in the colour of your choice and you know what colour that stands for and what time frame that reflects, you don't need to mark it up at all. Now, I do also have them saved as templates, so I can quickly drop down, draw a box, and then just click on that and it applies my settings. I don't use names anymore now because I know the colour code scheme. Over here in your object tree, again it's called it a rectangle, so just by renaming that to fair value gap daily, one of these days I'll remember the caps lock. Now when I copy and paste that somewhere, it'll rename it exactly the same again, and I can now stick them two in a folder of their own, and I'll call that group daily. Right, I'm going to go now and do some lower time frames, and then I'll come back to you all and show you the advantage of why I've done it this way. So give us 5 minutes. Well, there weren't so many on there after all. So I'm going to drop down now to the 4-hour time frame. I've got my daily group here, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hide that so that I can now draw my 4-hour fair value gaps. As I've said before, once I've sorted out the settings that I want, the background, the format and all that, I've saved them as a template, so it's just a matter of clicking on the template, clicking OK, and then coming over here and renaming the object that I've drawn in the object tree. Now I can just do the copy and paste bit. And you can see it's done exactly the same again with as it does with the lines. It copies it and retains a title. I'll stick them in a group, rename the group 4-hour. If I copy another one again, as you can see, it will stick it above the group, so I can just drag the marking to where I want it, resize it accordingly, and then drag the named item into the group that it belongs to. Right, let's drop down to the 1 hour. What I'm going to do again on the 1 hour is I'm going to hide the 4-hour markings and then start marking this chart up with some 1 hour fair value gaps. Stuck trying to find some here quickly. Okay, well, those two will do. Same again, I'll stick them in a group of their own, rename the group 1 hour. Right, and I think you get the picture of what's happening here. Now, the advantage of doing it this way is that if I now stick the 4-hour as visible, I can see where they now start matching up. I've got a 4-hour fair value gap and a 1 hour fair value gap aligning. Pop the daily on there and I can see where they're aligning as well. So when you go down to the lower time frames like 15 minutes, 5 minutes, you can either display the higher fair value gaps or groups, or hide them if your chart becomes too complicated. Hopefully you found this video informative, helpful, and I'm sure there's some tips you guys have got that you could share with us. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.